Hello children, welcome to Jairam High Secondary School online classes. This is a video from class 9 biology unit 18 organization of tissues. Children, we have started with the lesson in the previous video. We have seen the introduction of the lesson and we have seen the classification of living organisms based upon the number of cells as unicellular and multicellular, and we have seen the different levels of organization in humans and animals and plants. Whereas in animals the organ system level of organization is there, whereas in plants only there is organ level of organization. The various organs of the plant forms the whole plant, whereas in animals and human beings the organ systems forms the whole organism. So we have seen the classification of plant tissues as meristematic tissues and permanent tissues, and based upon the position of meristem it has been further classified into apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem, and we have seen the functions of meristems. And in permanent tissues it is divided into two types. It is simple tissue and complex tissue. If it is made up of similar type of cells, it is called simple tissue. Examples, we have seen the tissues of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, and sclerenchyma is further divided into fibers and sclerites. So in this video we'll continue with the complex tissue, xylem and phloem. So what is complex tissue? As we said earlier, simple tissue is made up of similar type of cells, and the similar type of cells combine together to perform a similar function. Whereas in complex tissue, it is made up of more than one type of cells which work together as a unit to perform one similar function. Like example, we have already seen, if you are practicing for a dance program, if a 6th standard class students are giving a program, it's like all the students of similar class, it's like a simple tissue. If the students from 6, 7, 8, 9 are mingled together and giving a dance activity, then it is called as a complex tissue. Here the students of various classes group together but they perform the similar function, that is nothing but dance. Okay, likewise here different type of cells combine together to perform one single function, so that is called as complex tissue. So complex tissue is also made up of simple tissue such as parenchyma and sclerenchyma cells. So first kind of complex tissue is xylem, another kind of tissue is phloem. Before seeing the components of this tissue, let us have an outlook of what is xylem and what is phloem. You know very well, like all other living organisms, plant also required food for their growth and their living. Okay, so to make it food, the plant perform the process of photosynthesis, you know very well. Since plants are autotrophic and they contain the green color pigment called chlorophyll, with the help of chlorophyll they absorb the sunlight energy and convert it into a chemical energy in the form of starch. For that, carbon dioxide is needed for a requirement for photosynthesis. Likewise, in addition with chlorophyll, carbon dioxide, it needs water and minerals for the preparation of starch. So where do the plants get this water and minerals from? We know the basic function of a root is to absorb the water and minerals from the soil and provide it to the various parts of the plant. So normally if you observe, when we pour water to a plant, most of us will pour water over the leaf surface, but it is very good if we pour the water near to the root surface, then only the root can absorb the water. So how the roots are absorbing water? Once the roots are absorbing the water and minerals from the soil, it has to be transported to various parts of the plant, especially to the leaves for the preparation of food. So how does this happen? How the root is taking all the water and minerals from the ground to the upwards in contrast to the gravitational force. You know very well, gravitational force of the earth pulls all the things down, but against the gravitational pull the water is sucked up down in the upward direction. So how this is happening? Okay, like you can see the example of a water pipe which can take the water from underground and give it to various stories of an apartment. So in the apartments it may be third floor or fourth floor, but the water from the underground is taken with the help of a motor and is passed to the pipes to second floor and third floor. Likewise, the water from the ground is taken by the root against the gravitational pull, and then it is transported to various parts of the plant which is growing above the soil. So you can, best example is you can take the example of a water pipe and how the water is pulled out from inside the root. For that you can take the example like a straw. You can if you are drinking a juice, how you're taking the juice through a help of a straw, you're sucking it with the help of a suction pull. Likewise, the root is absorbing the water and minerals in the upward direction. So this is the main function of root, and after absorption it's conducting the water and minerals through the stem. And you know very well the basic function of a stem is conduction. Since like other animals, the plants do not have a circulatory system. Like in human beings we have circulatory system, especially blood, arteries and veins for the transport of nutrients to various parts of the body. Like in plants there is no circulatory system. So instead of circulatory system, the plants they have a system called vascular system, and this vascular system is made up of xylem and phloem. So xylem and phloem together constitute the circulatory system of the plant, but actually I am saying it is a circulatory system, but there is no organ system level of organization in plants. It is just organ. Like circulatory system, the plants have a vascular tissues like xylem and phloem. It is not actually system, it is the tissue level. Okay, so xylem and phloem are the two different tissues which works of circulation of nutrients to various parts of the plant. And another example I want to quote to you, that is your mother is preparing food in the kitchen. Like you imagine leaf as the kitchen, because since it's prepared in the leaves, since food is prepared in the leaves, you can imagine the leaf as the kitchen of your house, and your mother is preparing food. Likewise, the plant is also preparing food through the process of photosynthesis. Like for preparing the food, your mother needs some raw materials such as vegetables and other grocery items. So who will get that from the shop? Your father is getting the grocery items and all the vegetables and all the requirements needed for preparing food from the shop. You imagine the xylem tissue is like a father. It is taking all the basic requirements needed for the preparation of food to the leaves, which is nothing but the kitchen in your house, and your mother is preparing the food. After preparing the food, is she keeping all the things in the kitchen itself? She is distributing to all the members of the home for their growth and survival, isn't it? After preparing, she is giving to you all in your home. Likewise, after preparation of the food in the leaves, it has to be distributed to various parts of the plant for its proper growth and survival. So your phloem is like your mother. So xylem is like your father who is getting all the basic requirements for the preparation of food, and phloem is like your mother who is distributing the food prepared in the kitchen to various members of the family. So the same you can compare it with xylem and phloem. So xylem is a tissue which takes all the raw materials needed for the preparation of food from the ground to the leaf and various parts of the plant, and the phloem is a tissue which translocates the food prepared in the leaves to various other parts of the plant for necessary growth and survival. So now we are getting into xylem. So I think now you got a clear understanding of what is xylem and what is phloem. So xylem and phloem are the two complex tissue which helps for transporting the nutrients and food to various parts of the plant. So first coming to xylem, it is a conducting tissue. So conducting is nothing but it is translocating, it is giving all the water and nutrients to all parts of the plant. So it is a conducting tissue. So what are the things it conducts? It conducts water, mineral nutrients upward from roots to leaves. So it is unidirectional. What is unidirectional? It passes only through single direction. The xylem carries water and minerals only from the roots to the leaves in the upward direction. It will not move in any other direction. So it is an unidirectional movement and needs some force also. and also in addition to that it gives mechanical support to the plant, and it is composed of 4 different types of cells. So as we said already, since it is a complex tissue, it is made up of different kinds of cells, but the main function is to conduction of water and mineral nutrients. So let us see the components of xylem. First thing is xylem tracheids. So xylem tracheids, these are elongated tube-like dead cells. So dead cells, it is composed of sclerenchyma cells. So in previous itself we have seen the complex tissue is made up of parenchyma, which is a living tissue, and sclerenchyma, which is a dead tissue. So here xylem tracheids are made up of dead cells. So dead cells composed of sclerenchyma cells. Okay, and its wall is made up of hard and thickened lignin component. So the walls are made up of lignin, and ends are tapering, blunt and kysel like. Tapering வளைஞ்சி இருக்கிறது எண்டில், அண்ட் பிளண்ட்டு அண்ட் கைசல்னா ஒரு அருவாள் மாதிரி இருக்கும் இல்லையா, கத்தி அருவாள் இருக்கு இல்லையா, அதுதான் கைசல் லைக் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். அண்ட் இட் இஸ் டிவாய்ட் ஆஃப் protoplasm. So since here itself we have denoted it as a dead cells, there is no protoplasm. You know very well, protoplasm is the living component of the cell. Devoid means absence. So since there is absence of protoplasm, these are called dead cells, and it has a large pneumen for transportation of water and minerals. Okay, and main function is conduction of water, and in addition to that it gives mechanical support to the plant also. So this is about xylem tracheids. Next component of the xylem is xylem fibers. These are also elongated, lignified, pointed at ends. We saw in xylem tracheids these are tapering at ends, but in xylem fibers these are pointed at the ends. And here also the walls are made up of lignin, and the main function of xylem fibers is to give mechanical support to the plant. And xylem vessels, these are long cylindrical tube like. So as I already said, you can compare these xylem vessels to that of a pipeline which carries water to your home. Okay, so since water is flowing inside the pipe, likewise it has a tube like structure, since water and minerals can passes inside it. So tube like, and walls are made up of lignin, and it also has a narrow wide lumen, and the cells are dead since it does not contain any protoplasm, so it contains dead cells which is made up of sclerenchyma, and it is perforated. Perforated means it is many holes are present, so holes are called perforations. Since it is perforated, it looks like a water pipe. And the main function of xylem vessels is also transport of water and nutrients from the root to the upwards, and also it provides mechanical support to the plant. And next kind of cell is xylem parenchyma. So parenchyma itself denotes these are the living cells, since parenchyma is a kind of simple tissue which contain protoplasm, and these are living cells, and this xylem parenchyma is also a living cells, and its wall is made up of thin wall cells. And the main function of parenchyma we know already, it stores the food. So main function of parenchyma is storage of starch and fatty substances. Okay, clear children? So once again we'll see xylem. So xylem is a conducting tissue. It conducts water, mineral nutrients upward from roots to the leaves, and in addition it gives mechanical support to the plant, and it consists of 4 different kinds of cells: xylem tracheids, xylem fibers, xylem vessels, and xylem parenchyma. Even it is made up of 4 different types of cells. All these cells together perform the function of conduction of water and minerals from the roots to the leaves for food preparation. So the major function is to conduction of water and minerals, and also in addition it gives mechanical support to the plant. So these are the components of xylem. So from this diagram you can see what are the different components of xylem. And next, coming to phloem components. So once when the xylem takes water and minerals from the roots and pass it to the leaves, the major function of the leaves is to produce food through the process of photosynthesis. So once after the photosynthesis process is over, the food is prepared and stored in the form of starch. So starch is the plant food we know already. So starch is nothing but a complex carbohydrate. It is made up of similar units of glucose. So starch is a complex carbohydrate, and the plant food is, the reserved plant food is starch. Now this food has to be translocated to various parts of the plant like root, stem, other leaves and also to the flowers and fruits. Then only this food will be transported to all the parts, and all the parts will survive very well, and it helps in the growth of the plants also. So phloem components helps in the translocation of food. So it also is made up of 4 different kinds of cells, such as sieve elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. So first we'll see about the sieve elements. The sieve elements are elongated tube-like slender cells. So this is also a tube-like structure, since it has to be translocate the food prepared in the leaves to various other parts of the plant. It is also a tube-like structure, and it is elongated, and it transverse walls and ends are perforated. So these sieve elements ends are perforated means there will be holes for the passage of food. So holes are nothing but perforations. So the ends are perforated, that is called sieve plates. So it is arranged in the form of plate like structures, one to one in a row wise. So this is easy for transportation of the food substances. So functions of sieve elements is translocation of food. So what do you mean by the term translocation? It is transferring the food prepared in the leaves to various other parts of the plant. So it is translocating the food. So the process is called translocation, transportation of food. So it is called translocation of food from the leaves to storage organs of the plant. So where will be the food stored? It will be mostly stored in root or in the fruit. So fruit will contain more amount of sugars, or sometimes you have studied the modifications of root or stem, so the excess amount of food will be stored there. Okay. And next one, companion cells. So these cells are also elongated, and these are attached to lateral walls. So lateral, this side, it's like these are attached to lateral walls. Okay. And next component of the phloem is phloem parenchyma. So parenchyma itself denotes the cells are living, and nucleus is also present. So cytoplasm and nucleus together constitute the protoplasm. Since protoplasm is there, it is the group of living cells. And function of parenchyma is mainly storage of food materials, and here the function of phloem parenchyma is also to store food materials. And next, last component of phloem is phloem fibers. So fibers, it's a division of sclerenchyma cells. We have already seen in simple tissue, sclerenchyma is made up of fibers and sclerites. So fibers, these are dead cells without protoplasm, and sclerenchyma cells with primary and secondary phloem. And then these are elongated, and the walls are lignified. Lignified means what? The walls are made up of a special component called lignin. Likewise, you know the plant cell is made up of a component called cellulose. Here these tissues are made up of a special component or lignin. So only we are saying that lignified. Another main function of the phloem fibers is to give mechanical strength to the plant. Okay, so these are the 4 different components of phloem. So once again we'll see the 4 different components of phloem. It is sieve elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem cells. So from the diagram you can see the various components of phloem, like sieve elements and phloem parenchyma, which is nothing but, and you can see here the nucleus, and in adjacent to that phloem parenchyma you can see the companion cells, and you can see the sieve plastids and parenchyma plastids and sieve plates. So this is layers of a phloem tissue. So you can see the various components of the phloem. Okay children, I think now you got a clear idea of what is xylem and what is phloem, and how the water and minerals is absorbed from the root and it is given to the leaves for preparation of food, and how the food prepared in the leaves is transported to various parts of the plant for its necessary growth and survival. So these tissues, xylem and phloem, act as a conducting tissue, and this is also called as vascular system of the plant. So this is all about the tissues of the plant. So we have seen about the plant tissue classification as meristematic and permanent tissues. So permanent tissues has been classified into simple permanent and complex permanent. So parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma are the 3 types of simple tissues, and xylem and phloem are the 2 types of complex permanent tissues. So this is all about the plant tissues. Now we'll move on to animal tissues. Before getting into animal tissues, we'll see the difference between xylem and phloem. So xylem, it conducts water and minerals, and phloem, it conducts organic solutes or food materials. So the food material is nothing but starch. which is prepared by the process of photosynthesis, and the conduction is almost unidirectional. So as I said earlier itself, it moves only through one direction, from downward to upward, but here the conduction is bidirectional. So once the food is prepared in the leaves, which is present in the shoot system, it has to be transported to the root system also. So the direction should be changed from upward to ground side also. So it is a bidirectional movement. So from roots to apical parts, apical means tip of the plant. So its conduction is mostly unidirectional from roots to the apical parts of the plant, and here the conduction is bidirectional from leaves to storage organs or growing parts, or from storage organs to growing parts of the plant. Here the storage organs are the leaves and other modifications of stem and root, which are mainly meant for storage of food materials, and growing parts is like tip of the plant or at the lateral branches side, that is the growing part of the plant. And here the conducting channels are trachees and vessels. Here the conducting channels are sieve tubes. So the various components of xylem include xylem vessel, xylem parenchyma, xylem trachees and xylem fibers. Here the various components of phloem include sieve elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. So this is the difference between xylem and phloem. Next, we will see about the differences between meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. So, meristematic tissue composed of a group of cells which are continuously in a state of cell division. Permanent tissues are the group of cells which have either temporarily or permanently stopped the process of cell division. So here the cytoplasm is dense, vacuoles are nearly absent. Since the cells are continuously dividing, there is no need for the vacuole, so vacuoles are nearly absent. Here it has a large central vacuole living in permanent cells, and intercellular spaces are absent. So in between these cells the spaces are very less. Here intercellular spaces are present. Here the component cells are small, spherical, polygonal and undifferentiated. So they may be in various shapes. Since it is always in a state of division, it is an undifferentiated cells. Before forming into a root, stem or leaf, it is undifferentiated because the meristematic tissues are present in both in the apex, in the lateral side where the branches of the plant will grow, and also in the tip of the root where the root will also grow in order to take a search of food and in a search of water and nutrients. Okay, so the growing tip is present in the apex of the stem, in the lateral side of the stem, and also even in root also the growing tip is present. So these are all undifferentiated cells. Here the component cells are large and differentiated with different shapes. The permanent shapes are present. And here the cell wall is thin and elastic. Here the cell wall is thick, and the nucleus is large and prominent. Here the nucleus is less conspicuous. Here meristematic tissues, the cells grow and divide regularly. In permanent tissues, the cells do not normally divide. In meristematic tissues, it provides mechanical support and elasticity to the plant body. In permanent tissues, it provides only mechanical support. So this is the difference between permanent tissues and meristematic tissue. So this may come in 1 5 mark also. So have a clear idea about the difference between xylem and phloem and difference between the meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. So now we'll move on to animal tissues, like how the plant cells are organized to form tissues, and the tissues perform various functions. In animals also, the cells are grouped together to form various kinds of tissues. And animal cells as animal organism, that is animals and human beings, are much more complicated than plants. Since plants have organ system level of organization, animals have organ system level of organization, and since is a more complex organization, and here the division of labor, that is each different type of tissues is specialized to perform different functions in animals. So here in animal tissues, assemblage of one or more types of specialized cells is called as a tissue. So we know already the group of cells combined to perform a similar function is called as a tissue, and study of tissue is called as histology. So histology is a branch of science which deals with the study of tissues. So animal tissue has been broadly classified into simple tissue and complex tissue. So as we seen in plant tissues, simple tissues is made up of group of cells which are similar in origin, form, structure, and they work together to perform a specific function. And complex tissue, these are made up of different type of cells which differ in the structure and function, but together they coordinate to perform a specific function. Here it is made up of similar type of cells. Here it is made up of group of cells, but the function is similar. This group of cells which are similar perform a similar function. Here group of cells which are different in their structure and function but perform a specific function. So this is the difference between simple tissue and complex tissue. So this is the overall classification of animal tissues. So animal tissues have been classified into 4 major types. One is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So epithelial tissue is further classified into squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, ciliated epithelium and glandular epithelium. And connective tissue is furthermore divided into connective tissue proper, supportive connective tissue, dense connective tissue and fluid connective tissue. And here again the connective tissue proper is made up of 2 different types of components, areolar tissue and adipose tissue. And supportive connective tissue is made up of cartilage and bone, and dense connective tissue is made up of tendon and ligament, and fluid connective tissue is made up of blood and lymph. In addition, the blood has various types of cells called plasma, RBC, WBC and platelets, and lymph has plasma and WBC cells. Then coming to muscular tissue, which is mainly meant for movement and locomotion, is further divided into striated or voluntary muscles, non-striated or involuntary muscles and cardiac muscles. And nerve tissue, which is mainly meant for control and coordination, is divided into neurons. So neurons are the functional unit of nervous tissue. It has a cell body, cyton, axon and dendron. These are the components of nervous tissue. So we'll see one by one in detail. So first we'll see about the epithelial tissue. The epithelial tissue or simple tissue is made up of similar group of cells. It contains 1 or more layers covering the surface. What do you mean by epithelial? Epi means outer covering of our body. Which is the outer covering of our body? Our skin is the outer covering of our body. So not only this tissue covers the skin, outer covering of our body, some of the internal organs are also covered by these epithelial tissues, mainly for protecting the inner layers. So cells are closely arranged and these lack blood vessels. And 2 types of epithelium. It is made up of 2 types of epithelium, simple epithelium and compound epithelium. So simple epithelium is divided into 4 more major types: squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium and ciliated epithelium. So here comes the functions of epithelial tissues. As I already said, epithelial tissues form the outer covering of our body. It protects the underlying cells from drying, and also it protects our cells from injury and from microbial infections. So the main function of the epithelial tissue, the main function of our outer skin, is to protect our internal organs and internal cells from damage and from microbial infections. Then the other function is absorption of water and minerals and elimination of waste. Elimination of waste is in the form of a sweat. You know very well, sweat is also a form of excretory product. In addition to kidneys, the skin also performs the function of excretion in the form of sweat. So secretion of sweat, saliva, mucus and enzymes. So these are also the functions of epithelial tissues. So please keep in mind about the functions of epithelial tissues when we are going to explain about the different types of epithelial tissues. These functions will play a major role in that. So keep these functions of epithelial tissues also 4 more questions, so you can make a note of it. First type of epithelium is simple epithelium. It is made up of single layer of cells. It is found in the lining of body cavity and ducts. So in our body cavity and ducts, like in the arteries and veins, covering of the arteries and veins and blood vessels, and in the covering of the ducts, this simple epithelium plays a very major role. And here comes the squamous epithelium. So this is a picture of squamous epithelium. So the squamous epithelium is made up of thin cells and prominent nuclei. So the cells are very thin and it contains a nucleus. You know very well, if a cell is there, the surely nucleus will be present. So nucleus is the control center of the cell. So it contains a prominent nucleus and it have irregular boundaries. See from the picture you can see it has irregular boundaries. There is no definite shape of the cell. So the cells may vary in their shape. It has irregular boundaries and pavement membrane is present. And these type of epithelium, squamous epithelium is present in the delicate lining of buccal cavity. Buccal cavity is nothing but our mouth and tongue, and alveoli. Alveoli are air sacs which are present in the lungs mainly for exchange of gases, and then lungs and proximal tubule of kidneys. This is a section of kidney and also in skin. So these are the parts where you can find the simple epithelium. And coming to the function of squamous epithelium, it protects the body from mechanical injury, drying and invasion of germs. So this is the first line of protection from microorganisms. So before the microorganisms are getting inside our body, this main squamous epithelium protects our body from the invasion of germs and from any mechanical injury and drying. And next type of simple epithelium is cuboidal epithelium. So from the name itself you can see the cells are cubical in structure. So it is made up of single layer of cuboidal cells, and you can see the blue color part is nothing but the nucleus. So nucleus are round and center. See, you can see the nucleus as round and center of the cell. And these type of cuboidal epithelium you can see in the thyroid vesicles. So thyroid, which is present in the neck region, in between the thyroid gland. So thyroid vesicles, you can see this, and in the salivary glands which is present in our mouth, which is mainly meant for the secretion of saliva, and sweat glands which secrete sweat in our skin, so sweat glands, and in pancreas. This is an internal organ. And intestine, which this pancreas and intestine are mainly concerned with digestive system, and pancreas is also concerned with the hormonal production of insulin also. And nephron is the functional unit of kidneys, and microvilli, which is present in the small intestine, which is mainly meant for the absorption of nutrients once after the food is being digested. So these type of cuboidal epithelium can be seen in these places. And main functions of cuboidal epithelium is secretion and absorption. So from the part where it is present, you can easily tell the functions. Since like salivary glands, it is secreting saliva, so the main function is saliva. And in pancreas, it is secreting the hormone called insulin, so it is a secretory function. And in sweat glands, it is secreting sweat, so it is also a secretory function. Whereas in microvilli and nephron, these are in the functions of absorption. So from the things where it is present, you can say the function. So main function of the cuboidal epithelium is secretion and absorption. And next, coming to next type of some simple epithelium is columnar epithelium. It is also made up of single layer of slender elongated pillar like. So from the diagram itself you can see it is arranged as a single layer of slender. It's like a single, and it is elongated like a pillar. தூண் மாதிரி அரேஞ்ச் ஆயிருக்குன்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. ஸோ பில்லர் நம்ம ஒரு ஈவன் யூ கேன் டேக் தி எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஆஃப் ஸ்டிக். ஒரு ஸ்டிக்கை எடுத்து நம்ம நேரம் அடுக்கி வச்சோம்னா எப்படி இருக்குமோ அதுதான் பில்லர் லைக் செல்ஸ். அண்ட் யூ கேன் சி தி நியூக்ளியஸ் அட் த பேஸ். முன்னாடி நம்ம பார்த்ததுல யூ கேன் சி தி நியூக்ளியஸ் அட் தி சென்டர். ஸோ இங்கே நம்ம பார்க்குறது நியூக்ளியஸ் அட் தி பேஸ். ரெண்டுக்கும் டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் புரியுதா? ஸோ நியூக்ளியஸ் அட் தி சென்டர், ஹியர் நியூக்ளியஸ் அட் தி பேஸ். And these type of columnar epithelium you can found in the lining of stomach, gallbladder, bile duct, gallbladder which stores the bile juice, and stomach which helps in the digestion process, and bile duct which stores bile, and small intestine concerned with digestion, and colon in the digestive system, and oviducts which is a part of female reproductive system, and mucous membrane which is the lining cavity of the major parts. Okay. And from the presence in the various different parts you can see the functions. So bile duct which secretes bile juice, so it has a secretory function. And small intestine, microvilli which helps in the absorption of nutrients once after the food is digested, so it has an absorption function. So this is all about columnar epithelium. The next type of simple epithelium is ciliated epithelium. So here also from the name itself you can see cilia. So what do you mean by cilia? These are small hair like projections you can see in some different bacteria and other organisms. Cilia, you can see from the picture, you can see these are small hair like projections from the cell. It is called as cilia. it has a hair-like outgrowths, and these can be seen in trachea or windpipe and bronchioles. So these two are concerned with our respiratory system, and kidney tubules in excretory system, and fallopian tubules of oviducts, which is concerned with the female reproductive system. So the main function is movement of particles. So since it has cilia, hair-like outgrowths like our eyelashes, it will be like small eyelashes, how it is protecting our eyes from the dust, like this. These cilia are helpful for the movement of particles. Okay, this is ciliated epithelium. So these are the four kinds of simple epithelium. The first type is squamous epithelium, and the second type is cuboidal epithelium, and the third thing columnar epithelium, and the fourth one ciliated epithelium, and fifth one glandular epithelium. So from the name itself, it is present in glands. So these are epithelial cells modified to perform the specialized functions as glands. So glands are the part of humans which secrete some chemical substances called hormones. We have different glands in our body, like pituitary gland, thyroid gland, and so many glands. So we should be secreting some specific chemical substance which are nothing but the hormones. So these lines the gastric glands. Gastric glands are mainly concerned with the process of digestion in our stomach, and pancreatic tubules which secrete pancreatic juice, and intestinal glands which secrete intestinal juice, and these are mainly concerned with secretion of enzymes needed for the digestion process. So these glandular epithelium are mainly meant for secretion of enzymatic juices, mainly meant for digestion, and this function is secretion. And these are the types of simple epithelium. Now coming to compound epithelium, this is made up of more than one layer of cells. Since simple epithelium, these are made up of single layer of cells. Compound epithelium, these are made up of more layer of cells. Like anga ore or layer, inga nariya layers. Adu mattum simple and compound epithelium oda difference. And you can see the striated appearance, stratified appearance of the compound epithelium. And these type of compound epithelium covers the dry surface of the skin and moist surface of the buccal cavity. Buccal cavity is nothing but our mouth. So this covers the dry surface of our skin and moist surface of buccal cavity, and a main function of compound epithelium is the protection of underlying tissues. Okay children, this is all about the animal tissues. In animal tissues, we have seen 4 different types of animal tissues, that is epithelial tissues, muscular tissue, nervous tissue, and connective tissue. And in this video we have discussed the various groups of epithelial tissue, simple epithelium and compound epithelium. And in the next session we'll move on to the other types of animal tissues. Till then, keep watching this video, keep listening. Thank you children, have a nice day.